Hello, it is Wednesday. Women That Shred. Welcome, everyone. Today's guest, I have an actual colleague of mine from New American Funding, Robin Harris. Welcome to the show, Robin.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
This is perfect. I had posted yesterday about how it was going to be like a cathartic show because you wanted to talk about because I always ask my guests a topic because it's all about you. And so we had agreed on kind of how when our life turns upside down, and right now my entire like literally as we speak, like even before we went live, like I had to move rooms. Was like yelling at my mom to because she's trying to pack in the background and she doesn't realize that like the tape, yeah, I can hear it. The packing tape. So she like literally is tiptoeing behind me. So this is like perfect.
Well, like if you watch my Instagram, I know you see my videos and stuff. Like I work from home with my 3.5-month-old, and 20 minutes ago, I'm like putting on makeup and trying to feed him a bottle at the same time. Going, please go to sleep. You've got to take a nap now. So
I know. I have to admit to everyone, this is the first time that I'm seeing Robin with makeup on and her hair done. Usually it's in a ball cap and no makeup.
Yeah, no, this is definitely, I'm like halfway through a reel. Like while this is done, I'm going to take advantage
I was going to say, as soon as we finish the show, you got to create a lot of really good content. Looking all dolled up, right?
Yes.
But I love that, there's the side of you that sometimes you're not all dolled up, and we talked about that. And then we can also appreciate when you are, right? Like it doesn't have to be one extreme to the other. Yes, to Shauna, mom life, right? So it's like in the moments that you do feel, you're made up and you feel really good about yourself. Like there's nothing wrong with taking that opportunity to be like, you know what, I'm feeling empowered and I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of it, right?
Right, exactly. Like I might actually get out of the house this afternoon too. Like make sure my neighbors see me. Like I promise, like this is how I look, not just walk into the mailbox in my pajamas. So
that's funny because every time I get my hair done, for whatever reason, when I get it scheduled, I have like nothing to do. And my hairdresser, she's so sweet because she's like, do you have any plans? I'm like, no. And she's like, you got to schedule these things when you have like a date or you have an event, so your hair is all done. And I never time it right.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
Just go straight to the TV.
The last couple of times I've gone the same way. She's like, how do you want me to fix it? I'm like, I'm going to leave here and throw it back up in a ponytail and go play with my kids. So doesn't matter. No, I'm the same way.
No, so definitely you'll have to take advantage. But so I wanted to kind of go into the nitty gritty, and I love this because with this show, like the whole point is to really kind of get in there and get real and talk about real topics. And for you, I don't know much of your story. I know a little bit. I know you're down in Nashville, Tennessee, and recently divorced, and you've got, how old is your older son?
Oldest is 7. He's going into 2nd grade this year.
Okay, and then you have a baby.
Yes, 3.5 months old. He'll be 4 months this week. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll let you kind of share what you want to share, but obviously it's relevant to like why this topic.
Right.
So
right.
You share what you want to.
So it's not even just recent divorce. I'm in the middle of the divorce. So like the divorce isn't even final yet. This is all really recent, really new. We moved into this house in this neighborhood 2 years ago. So that I could walk my son to school. Our school is like literally a block and a half away. So we walk him to school. We walk to pick him up in the afternoon. Life was great. We were happy, planned to get pregnant with my 2nd child. Long story short, life happened. My husband went through some stuff. And in the event of that, like we just decided it was better to part our ways. And that decision was made even before I had the baby. So like got the divorce papers the day I came home from the hospital. Like it was
lovely time.
Yeah. So it's been a really rough 8 months for me. And I don't want to go into the full story because there was a lot, but I was used to my husband working from home with me and having the 7-year-old. So like if I needed to have a meeting, he could walk and pick up the son, or, he would drop him off in the mornings and I would pick him up in the afternoons. And it went from having him here to now I'm working from home. I have a 7-year-old. I still have to get to school. I've got to get him to Taekwondo, his activities. And I'm putting a baby in the middle of that, and I'm doing it all here by myself. And the real thing for me is a lot of people were, I wouldn't get out of bed if I were you. And like, it's so hard. And there was all this negativity around me. And I just, well, honestly, I had to put it out of my mind. And I think that's really like what I would want to focus on like today and talking to people about. One, like when your life turns upside down, you hear all this stuff from all different angles and all this negativity. I literally remember one day I was so stressed and the baby's not wanting to sleep. I had to go to the grocery store. My 7-year-old's in my ear. Can we have candy? Can I have chips? Can I have this? Can I have that? And I'm like, will you stop? I'm here for like one thing. I need to get a birthday card and I'm going to take it to a friend and we're going to like, let's just get home. The baby's screaming, like, just get out the door. And I go to drop the gift off to a friend and she looks at me and she was on the phone and busy. She was like, well, I'm so sorry. I'm on the phone. Thanks for the gift. I'll talk to you later. I know you and I probably need to catch up. And I said, yeah, no, I'm fine. And she goes, you're not fine. I can tell by looking at you, you're about to fall apart. And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And I came home and those words played over in my head until I fell apart. And I did what a mom does. I hid it from my son. I said, here's dinner. Here's a frozen pizza. Baby's down for a nap. I'm going to get in the bath. I'm going to cry. And then I'm going to call a friend and I'm going to listen to the positive. So I called another friend and said, I just need you to build me up. I need you to tell me that I'm a rock. I need you to tell me that I've got this. I need you. And she spent 20 minutes I don't know why anybody's got it in your head that you're not. You are amazing. You are superwoman. You're doing this and you're doing this and you're a new mom and you're going hiking and you're doing all these amazing things. And she just reminded me of all the positive things that are going on in my life. And I realized I was going to have to start taking all that negative that everybody kept telling me. How are you going to survive without your husband at home? People, how are you going to afford your house? How are you going to, like all these personal negative just at me all the time.
It's amazing how people automatically just kind of default to that, right? And it's funny because Russ, who just hopped on, Russ has a live stream and he had one last week where I was a guest and we were talking about mindset and how mindset matters. So the fact that he just hopped on when you were talking about how you realized how important having positivity in your world for your mindset was. So it really does make a difference. And it's not diminishing like the reality of things, right? Like I think a lot of times people are like, oh, but you have to also live in the real world. In the real world, life can suck and all this. And it's like, yes, it can. But I think you have to honor what's best for you. And like, I know for me, having that positivity like around me all the time is what I need, right? Like, so if that's what you need, like good for you for acknowledging that and then asking for it too. Because that's another thing. The fact that you asked your friend, like, hey, be my cheerleader right now. Because a lot of people would be like, wow, you're okay. Fine. I'll just feed you whatever you want to hear. Yes. You can be fed whatever you want to hear. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No. And I think we need to be okay as women to ask each other for that. Because we're so hard on ourselves. And when others, and my friends that were saying those things that were just like little daggers into me, none of them meant any harm. I don't hold anything against them. But it was just like little stab here. And like, I knew that was my person that I could call and be like, you know what's going on. I need you to tell me I'm doing a good job. I need you to tell me. And she was like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to feed you this. She's like, I'm telling you the truth. That's the way this is. So like, not only surrounding myself with that positivity, but then I even move that over to Instagram and I create that positivity. I create that happiness. And I had a comment a few weeks ago about, oh, well, this part of your reel was unnecessary. If you would edit it out and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't consider myself a content creator. I don't sit and think about these things. I post what makes me happy and I post my real life. So yeah, it might not be condensed down to whatever the perfect version is going to be, but life's not the perfect version. So you get the real me at all times. So, and I that's why I love, and I've really dove into Instagram and creating reels and doing that recently and sharing my life and sharing my passion and sharing this new adventure that I'm on, because that's really what it is to me now. It's new, but it can be exciting and it can be fun and it can be positive, but you've got to create that space around you.
Yeah. And not only that, like you still need to survive and support yourself and make money. So the beauty of it is that you're using that to also help with your business, because what's happening, and this is what I talk about with a lot of the loan officers, is that if you're just being you, and you're going to attract the people that you're supposed to attract, right? And then even your clients or your future customers or your future, the future home buyers, you're going to connect with those that are going to want to work with you. So I love that you're putting yourself out there in this way, like where I feel like you're probably attracting a lot of women that are, divorcees, kind of single moms that are in this situation. And when they're ready to buy a home or they have questions, they're going to feel such a connection to you that they're going to want to do business with you. And then in return, that's great, because then you can also, help feed your babies. So, that's the reality too, is that we're in a day and age where you kind of have to put yourself out there, but you are doing it in such a positive way. And I'm loving it, because I'm the type of person that I love to laugh. Like for me, humor is the best medicine. So that's why my social media tends to be really funny too. And just seeing yours, like the other day you did something and I literally was like laughing out loud. I saw you and it just made me so happy in that moment. And how cool is it that not only are you doing it for yourself, but you're like helping others. Like the fact that I had a laugh in that moment, I don't think you realize how much you're impacting other people as well. So I absolutely.
And I hope that I am. I hope that, I can bring what you're talking about, just a little joy to somebody's life, bring that positivity and that happy space. Like, even if it's another loan officer, had another loan officer comment on one of the reels that was about the interest rates and how stressed we are about them.
Yeah.
And they were like, yes, like to laugh in that moment when we're stressed about what's going on with the environment. Like, that's all I want to bring. Like if a divorced woman is watching it and it's about the divorce and that makes them laugh and I bring them that little bit of joy in that moment, then that's kind of the point, is to bring that not only to me, but to them. And then I get to do it with my kids. Like I'm working from home. Like if anybody watches, my kids are a huge part of it. My boys are my world. And Max is going to be more famous than, anybody by the time he's like 5. And my oldest, he's the inspiration behind the dinosaur costumes. So anybody.
Oh my gosh. I'm just picturing one of the videos that you had done, and I literally oh my gosh, but
he loves
memories that he's going to hold forever. Like for him to be like, oh my gosh, I remember when I was young, my mom's wearing a dinosaur costume and we're dancing around the living room and doing videos. Like to some people, and people might think that's so ridiculous, but just think about it from a child's perspective. Like his mommy is playing with him, giving him attention, listening to him, hearing him, seeing him, like that, it goes, it's way more beyond like than just it being, you know, a fun Instagram reel. It really is.
So yeah, the whole start of the dinosaur, I bought that costume because I picked him up from school in kindergarten on his 6th birthday. He wanted a real dinosaur to pick him up from school. So I wore that through the neighborhood. Like I already said, I walk him to and from school. I walked up to the back of the school and all these kids are coming out and I'm in full dino costume, and then picked him up, and we had bought him a trampoline. And so I walked him home, showed him the trampoline, and then me in full dino outfit is jumping on the trampoline with him. So if you go back to my like older reels on Instagram, that's on there somewhere.
Yeah, let's make it like go viral, folks. Like, let's go revisit.
It's pretty hysterical. So he is like the inspiration, and I will pick him up from school in that dinosaur costume until he's a senior in high school. Like he's stuck with it now.
Yeah.
It's pretty entertaining. The kids kind of expect it now. Like even in the neighborhood, they're just like they get a big.
And then you can pass it on to him when if he has kids someday, then he can go ahead and pass on the tradition. And you never know, this might be like a tradition that expands beyond, you know, generations. and you know, like that's what it's all about. So the fact that, you know, you're going through kind of, you know, all this chaos and you're turning it into something so beautiful, and hopefully that inspires, you know, just anybody maybe going through the same thing that maybe it doesn't have that perspective, right? Like that's why it's so great to have these conversations, because there might be someone out there who's kind of like in the midst of it, and they watch you and they listen to you and they're like, you know what, maybe I should just go buy a dinosaur costume. Maybe that'll
on Instagram, I talk about my little phrase I say all the time on there is don't forget to show you're crazy. And when I say that, that's really what I mean, is like you're crazy is what other people might judge you for. Like, you know, because I think we have this thing, like I grew up in a very small town where you were worried about other people, what their perspectives were, whatever. And to me, showing you're crazy is just showing that side of you that's getting dressed up in the dinosaur costume and dancing in your living room, or running from the ice cream truck. That was another one. Like I felt like I had an ice cream truck chasing me around the neighborhood one day. You know, whatever it is that just makes you happy, stop being afraid of that and throw that happiness and that positivity, and worry about yourself being happy instead of what others are going to think about it.
Yeah, because I think that's the issue, right? Is that we call it like the crazy, where it really is just natural in us, but because we have been judged so much by it, and people look at it as, oh my gosh, you're acting so immature, or that's not professional, right? Like for so many years, I suppressed a lot of that, a lot of the playfulness, I'm very much like a child. Like my ex-husband laughs all the time. He's like, I feel like I have a third kid with you, you know? But like where before I would have really taken that and been really kind of offended by it, or now I'm like, no, you know what? I'm a child at times, and that's okay. And it doesn't make me crazy or, you know, any different than anybody else. I'm just not afraid to show it. And I think that's kind of where the problem lies, is like too many people are labeling it as certain things, and feel like if we can embrace it more and embrace that part of us more, then it'll just be like normal.
Right.
You know, like even us having this conversation, right? If we had this conversation live in the industry, maybe even just 5 years ago, I think people would be like, this is a really unprofessional conversation to be having. You ladies are in the mortgage industry. You have to represent yourselves in a certain way. You know, the fact that I'm like sitting here in a sleeveless shirt with my, you know, my daughter's, University of Arizona. I've got ripped jeans on. Like, I mean, this is what I look like right now. Like I'm not, and so I feel like we're evolving, and that's a good thing. And so like, that's why if we just keep having these conversations, keep talking about it, then hopefully one day we won't have to call it our crazy side. It's just another side.
Right. We'll stop. Yes, embrace it. Embrace the fact that we don't have to wear makeup and we don't have to get fixed up. Like, yes, I did it today, but like you said, this is not me. Like, I am in t-shirts and ball caps, and I probably own 20 different baseball caps. Like, I don't think any of my Instagram reels so far have any of the same cap in them. Like, it's just.
No, I feel you on that one. I think we related to that. I told you that I own more baseball caps than most men do, right?
Yeah.
But like but the fact that you did get, put on your face and, did your makeup and your hair, for me, that's like a sign of respect too, right? Like, so we understand being respectful, being disrespectful. Like, obviously you wouldn't show up to like a nice work event just, in a t-shirt and baseball cap, right? So we understand too, what is, the right thing to do at that moment. Like, but there shouldn't be anything wrong where if we do show up in a baseball cap and no makeup on for whatever reason, right? So it's like, there is definitely a balance to it.
Right. And I didn't want to be afraid of, once again, what people would think if I went on Instagram and wasn't wearing makeup and wasn't, because I was saving all my reels for those times where I was dressed up. And I finally just hit a point recently, like, that's not you. Like, you are never dressed up, therefore you're never posting anything because just don't do it. So like, throw on your ball cap and get on Instagram and start posting the stuff that you're really passionate about and have fun with it. So, and had I not fixed my hair and makeup, I went on a hike this morning. So 30 minutes before this went live, I was jumping out of the shower. And like I said, Max and one are throwing on makeup and trying to get ready. So this is me being respectful of not having mud in
right. And I appreciate that. And Delilah, she just showed up. So yes, she totally would show up in a t-shirt, baseball cap. I do show up to t-shirts all the time too, Delilah. You know that. But when I do t-shirts, I like put on a blazer or something. But I mean, there's a way to do it where we all know, Delilah, at least you're like showered and you've done your hair and like as opposed to like rolling out of bed in a t-shirt and baseball cap.
Right.
Is a difference there. But yeah, like I think it's just becoming more common for people to realize that, like, you know what, sometimes we just don't have the time or the energy to do that, and we rather show up feeling comfortable and having that energy to really like show up for our job or for our work, right? Like that's why I used to, how they used to criticize like Simon Cowell for having the same, baby T Gap t-shirt, or like Steve Jobs, or, all these Mark Zuckerberg, all these people wearing the same thing. I actually realized like, oh my gosh, that is so smart, because that's a lot of time and energy figuring out what to wear, Right. So for me, I'm kind of like now reverting to that, where I'm like, you know what, I need to like minimize my wardrobe so that like my headspace is used for more important things than picking out what I should wear.
Well, and just I think about like when I got started in this industry, it was very like industry standards for me to be in a business suit every day, like blazer and skirt or pants and heels, and I'm just like, I don't even own that stuff anymore. Like I'm glad because I think that was intimidating to people sometimes. I know it was to me. If I walked in and people were too dressed up, I'm like, oh, they're, hard to talk to or hard to approach. And I think the more comfortable clothes also makes me in the industry, when you're nervous and you don't buy homes every day, you want someone that you're comfortable speaking with. So it makes people more comfortable with you. But then I'm also just glad that we're not wasting all that time during the day getting ready. Like, I'm so much more productive now that I don't have to get ready every day.
Yeah, no, but it's true. And Dal, plus fashion changes so much. It does. Fanny packs for an old person thing. I know. I have a fanny pack too, Dal. I'm not gonna lie. I got a cute one from Target that I wear, but it's true. Like we don't even think about those things, right? How like they can affect us psychologically, right? Like if you don't feel like you're comfortable and you don't like your outfit, or you feel like you're underdressed or overdressed, like it really does it does affect you in those moments. So it's important to be able to, have people kind of understand like, hey, that's that person's style, or that's what they feel comfortable in. And you know what, so be it. And we just have to be just less judgmental. Like my mom and I had we were having a conversation about that in the car, where we were just like, why do people care so much about what other people do? Like, like why? Like like if it doesn't affect you personally or affect your life, like why does it matter?
Right.
I don't get it. But for whatever reason, we're so focused on other people. And, and even in that, like, even with what you're doing on Instagram and your social media, I'm sure there's plenty of people that if they do criticize or judge, I think it's more of their insecurity, because they wish they could literally just be 100% authentic and 100% real. And in that, be who they are. I think a lot of it comes from their own insecurity of not being able to feel secure enough to do that themselves, right? So like that's how I try to kind of view things too, where I think a lot just it's on them. So I love what you're doing. I encourage you to keep going, and just to kind of talk about the sense of you being out there. Have you noticed a difference in the sense of I guess just in your personal life, in your business life, like has it enhanced things? And I mean, I'm just asking because obviously that is my job, is like, the branding and social media. And so many people are so scared to put themselves out there because they feel like it has to be very personal and it has to be very raw and vulnerable. And it doesn't necessarily have to be. You're kind of an extreme in that respect. Like, let's be honest, like you really put it out there. So I'm just curious, has that empowered you? Like, I want to hear like the positives of putting yourself out there, what it's done for you.
So one, it's just made me happier. Like I really enjoy it.
Right?
I have fun with it, and I love like doing that part of it. It is empowering, and it's great. Like I'm getting a great response and feedback from people I know, like, oh my gosh, like what you said, you made me laugh, or just I'm loving it, keep it going. People loving Max, just they love seeing him in the reels and the information. I'm starting to see an uptick in the business. I'm starting to see that a little bit. Not as much as what I think I'd like, but I think it just takes time. And I'm really on the newer side of this. Like, let's be completely upfront about that. Like, I've really only dug into Instagram in the past month.
I'm telling you, Robin, just even if it's just a month and you're already starting to see a little bit of an uptick, that's huge. So just, just keep going, just keep being consistent, because I think that's the problem, is that people think after a month that it should, kind of be a little bit more or on the rise. And when it's not, then that's when people essentially give up. And so I'm just here to like encourage you, like not to give up. And especially now, no, don't, because that's where people do.
Right.
Unfortunately. And so I want you to also be like an inspiration to others to like just keep going, because what you're doing is so much more than just, like I said, putting on a dinosaur costume and holding the little one while you're eating. That was funny too. Like he literally was just like staring at you and you're like eating your dinner.
He was about halfway asleep and probably sick of me doing reels that day, because we had done one earlier in the day. The camera messed up. I got a phone call. I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb. Then it literally fell in the middle of our reel. So I think it was the letter M probably 20 times. And like by the end of it, he's throwing a fit. I finally get it done. I'm like, okay, that's great. Instagram like shut down and didn't post it, and I lost it and had to do it all over again. So yesterday was not a good day for 2 days ago. I don't remember, for Max in videos, and he was over it. So
yeah, but I mean, it's essentially part of the job and the business, right? Like I tell people with what I post, everyone thinks it's just like, oh, fun and games because it's social media, but it really does become a job. So like, you know, some people might be like, well, then stop doing reels. Like this is where everything's going. Every industry, not just ours, it's social media, and it's putting yourself out there, building an online presence, having people be able to Google you. And because we're also in a day and age where if people says, hey, I know this great loan officer, Robin Harras, guess what? They're going to Google you.
Right.
You know, if you have no presence or anything, then they're going to kind of be like, is she real? So yeah, just keep it up. And you know, we're already like at the 30-minute mark. I tell you that it goes by so quickly. But thank you for sharing as much as you did, because it does take a lot to you know, share that part of your life. And I just think that you're absolutely incredible. And I mean, you're like Superwoman at this point, you know, like, and I know you're gonna have your moments and you're not gonna always, you know, have those superpowers, but like you have a really good attitude about it all. So
thank you.
Like
it's okay. Like it's okay to have those moments. Like if anybody out there is watching it, it's okay to have those moments. It's okay. Like what gets me through is I take those moments, I cry, I yell, I've got a punching bag in the garage, like whatever it is, you go, you get it out. It is okay. I even tell my son, it is okay to have those feelings. It's not okay to carry that out into the world. It's not okay to take it out on other people. So you get it out and then you put on your big girl panties and you move on with it. And like I said, I want to spread the joy. I want to be an inspiration to others. And whether it's people looking for a home or a single mom or just a mom of 2 boys, like whatever that is that they find on my page or what, you know, out there in life, I just want to bring that joy to everybody.
Yeah. So just repeat what your Instagram handle is so that everybody can start following you.
Crazy Mortgage Mom is my Instagram handle.
That nobody else that handle was actually available.
It was Crazy Mortgage Mom. And Robin Harras on Facebook, Robin Harras on LinkedIn, but Instagram is Crazy Mortgage Mom, and that's where most of mine goes. So yeah.
She is.
Go see Max and Liam.
Yes. Thanks again, Robin. I really, really appreciate it. This was awesome. And I look forward to continuing to see your journey. And
thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for everyone for showing up and supporting. And we will see you next Wednesday. Women That Shred. Whoop, whoop.